Myla, would you like to read a book? You want to read a story? Okay. Some stories are short, and some take decades to write. The story of the Realtor Association of Central Massachusetts has unfolded over 100 years. Under all is the land, upon its wise utilization and widely allocated ownership depend the survival and growth of free institutions and of our civilization. Realtors should recognize that the interests of the nations and of its citizens require the highest and best use of the land and the widest distribution of land ownership. The year is 1923. Central Massachusetts is home to a booming manufacturing industry. Immigrants continue streaming into Worcester to work at local industry giants like the Norton Company, the White and Bagley Company, Wire and Metal Separations, Inc., and Wyman Gordon Company. Many factory workers reside in Worcester's iconic three-decker buildings. Real estate transactions are at a record high. An average single-family home costs about $7,000. On June 26, 1923, the Worcester Real Estate Board was approved for membership with the National Association of Real Estate Boards. The first president was Charles A. Cabley. There were 14 active members, and the annual dues were $25.
Hey guys, you want to read a book? All right. Let's see. Chapter 2, The Winds of Change. Such interests impose obligations beyond those of ordinary commerce. They impose grave social responsibility and a patriotic duty to which realtors should dedicate themselves and for which they should be diligent in preparing themselves. In 1955, the association changed its name from the Worcester Real Estate Board to the Worcester Board of Realtors Incorporated. Following World War II, cities that had experienced a housing boom saw a significant decline in home values and high rates of mortgage foreclosures. For example, a property purchased in Central Mass in 1923 retained just 56% of its value by 1955. Upon their return, veterans benefited from low housing costs and the GI Bill, allowing more Americans to own homes in suburbs like Holden and Shrewsbury. Unfortunately, housing was still not equally available to everyone. Discriminatory practices such as redlining and discriminatory zoning policies were commonplace, frequently blocking communities of color from building wealth through homeownership. From the 1930s until nearly 1970, a staggering 98% of FHA loans were granted to white buyers in neighborhoods, further exacerbating this inequality. But times were changing. Established in 1946, the Massachusetts Fair Housing Law aimed to prohibit discrimination of the protected classes in housing. This law led to the creation of the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. Massachusetts is recognized as a pioneer state due to its groundbreaking law prohibiting discrimination. It wasn't until 22 years later, in 1968, that the federal fair housing law was finally passed.
Chapter 3. The little R means big things. Okay, Rennie, it's time to read the next chapter. The little R, yes, means big things. Hoy día, el término realtor es sinónimo de competencia, imparcialidad e integridad, resultado del apego a un elevado ideal de conducta moral en las relaciones comerciales. Ningún incentivo de ganancia ni instrucción alguna dada por un cliente puede justificar el abandono de dicho ideal. By 1971, the association encompassed Worcester and surrounding towns, and the name was changed to the Greater Worcester Board of Realtors. The board now had an office space located at 70 Elm Street in Worcester. In 1975, Eleanor Bullis was elected the first woman president of the association. At that time, 50% of the 200-plus members on the Worcester board were women. Bullis was also the regional vice president of the Women's Council, an educational group that sought to promote the realtor movement, especially for women. She believed that real estate was a rewarding and challenging field where realtors could reach any heights and set their own limits. Prior to GPS, cell phones, and the internet, serving the buyers and the sellers of Central Massachusetts looked very different from today.
I'm Ed Levine. I was president in 2005.
I'm Jane Fine Levine, and I was president in 1996.
I am Cindy Walsh McKenzie.
I am Richard Walsh, and I was president of the Board of Realtors in 1979.
I'm Kathleen Spangler. I live in Shrewsbury, Mass, and got my license in '78.
Both of us were very active in the state association. These two plaques here are the Milt Shaw Awards, and we're the only husband and wife that have ever won the awards.
Yay!
Dad, weren't you the youngest president of the Realtor Association in 1979?
Yes, I was 37 years old.
I remember being there.
I became president in 1990 during a very difficult economic time. Everybody was a part of being a realtor, but not really understanding the value. And with it, the board protected you and guided you through understanding those processes. And it also exposed me to other brokers that I could talk to. So no one's worried that they're a competitor and can't, they can't share and help each other. That's important.
She started working at the board in 1988 when Colleen was first hired.
And we've all been friends ever since. It was one of those things.
When I came in the business in 1970, we did everything on paper in writing. There was no electronic thing. As far as the listings, we would take a picture with a Polaroid and it would get printed in a book. And the book's what we showed clients and customers to see what was for sale.
You'd have this book that would sit on the table. And when there were listings and they'd have a listing book of listings, like a 3-ring binder and copies of those listings in the office, right? And you'd come in during the day and you'd open up this other book. You'd race in and make notes on your own listings of the things that had happened to the listings in your office.
Well, there were two books. One was the listing book, and one was the book of comps. And this is, these two books, you stayed up at night and got nightmares from these things. This book is 630 pages long, and the listing book was about the same. It was those were the days of the books. This is before computers, so.
It's a different world.
Back then, of course, houses took a long time to sell. They didn't sell it overnight. They made the book. And the book took a week and a half to get out.
And you called your clients right away and said, the book's here, come over. And you'd go to their house, meet them somewhere.
But the other big thing is you couldn't let them take the book.
Right.
There was a very big fine if a customer was caught with the book. Right. You didn't know that?
Even though I was going through the era that they were saying we're going to get rid of paper. That's never happened, right? We still have paper. And so we could put all things in a folder and keep it, but everything had to be organized in that folder. We always had a sheet to the front that had every piece of name, address, everything handwritten.
It's just a, totally different world.
You remember it all.
I do.
You're in a car, they're following you, right? I had just moved here. I'm driving through Hopkinton. I don't know where Hopkinton is. I'm driving, they're following me, but I can make a left and they'll follow me anyway, right? And I make a right, I make a left, I make a right. They're following me all over and I'm as lost as I can be until I find the place and pull up. They don't know the difference. Now everybody has their GPS and they know you made the wrong turn. You can't waste 1 minute, right? And I remember selling a stone house for $100,000. That was expensive to me then, but hey.
It's been a long time, but I've enjoyed it, 52 years.
This board was always well represented.
Yeah, we had a great board.
Yeah.
And great people working with us.
The Realtor Association of Central Massachusetts today. Today, RACM is 2,000 members strong, representing 42 towns. The real estate industry represents 17% of this nation's gross domestic product, and our members play a large role in Central Massachusetts' local economy. Our membership, now at 61% women, continues to diversify, representing numerous nationalities with over 15 languages spoken. Our campus in Auburn, where we've been since 2007, offers a welcoming and inclusive environment with conference and classroom space that often fills with members gathering to learn about trending issues that impact housing. I'm Colleen Pappas, the CEO of the Realtor Association of Central Massachusetts. I started with the association in 1986, so that puts me at 36 years. RACM exists on a variety of different levels, the first being the members. It is our job to be sure that the members have the most up-to-date information so that they can go out into the community and serve the community as best that they can. We also have an obligation to our communities, whereby we protect property rights and advocate on issues that affect your neighborhoods. The best part about my job is getting to know so many different personalities, and it is through those personalities that our association has grown to the advances that we have these days.
My name's Lee Joseph, and I am the current 2023 president of the Realtor Association of Central Massachusetts, otherwise known as RACM, and I couldn't be prouder to be so. Our organization supports and fosters our membership. With over 2,000 members, we are visible in the community in both leadership roles and community service. We want to give each member the information and tools to be the best. Our mission? Empower members with the resources to achieve professional success. What I love most is the relationships that have been formed and strengthened by serving this board. I love seeing what we can accomplish when we work together. Whether you're walking side by side with some of our committee members or doing a transaction with people that you really get to know on a deeper level, it really does help all of us to work together and to be in sync, because that's who we are. Chapter 5, The Golden Rule. In the interpretation of this obligation, realtors can take no safer guide than that which has been handed down through the centuries, embodied in the Golden Rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do to you, do ye even so to them. Now, Myla, our story isn't over. We still have work to do. With some of the highest housing prices in the nation, Massachusetts ranks third lowest in affordability. Housing demand far outpaces production, with available homes at a record low. The gap between white and minority home ownership hovers as high as 38%. Unfortunately, this means that for many in our community, the American dream of home ownership is just that, a dream. But we are working to change that. Each year, our members invest an average of $50,000 in political action that promotes home ownership. Our association donates an average of $20,000 per year to local charities like Central Mass Housing Alliance and the Friendly House. That does the important work of providing safe and dignified housing for all. For the past 100 years, the Realtor Association of Central Massachusetts has empowered its members to serve our community in powerful ways.
Together, we have accomplished great things.
Por esa razón,
That if we keep telling our story,
All together.
juntos, con una voz,
we will build a better future.